Good day everyone, I am Avi Princess Rizaga, your discussant for today's lesson. So today we will be discussing about the diagnostic assessment in language classroom. But before we dive into our discussion, let me read to you the objective first. At the end of the lesson, you learners should be able to explain the purpose, importance, and challenges of diagnostic assessment in language classroom based on research and examples. Recognize the value of diagnostic assessment in addressing individual learning needs and fostering a supportive learning environment. And lastly, apply what you have learned in real-world scenarios. Now, let's proceed to our proper discussions. Now, let's define first what is diagnostic assessment in language classroom. Diagnostic assessment in language classroom is a type of evaluation that identifies students' strengths, weaknesses, and specific learning needs in language skills, such as reading, writing, speaking, and listening. It is conducted before or during instruction to provide teachers with detailed insights into students' proficiency levels, allowing for target interventions. Unlike summative assessments, which measure overall achievement, diagnostic assessments focus on uncovering gaps in knowledge and skills to guide personalized instruction. Effective diagnostic assessment helps teachers design lessons that address student difficulties, ensuring more meaningful and efficient language learning. Now let's proceed to its historical background. Spolsky in 1992 described diagnostic testing as an art guided by science, emphasizing that it requires both expertise and empirical evidence. Over the years, diagnostic assessment has evolved through research publication and performance descriptors such as CEFR, CLB, ACTFL, WIDA, and STEF. Technological advancements have further improved diagnostic feedback, making it more interactive and personalized. Here are some misconceptions about diagnostic assessment. There are common misconceptions about diagnostic assessment. Some believe it only assesses prior knowledge, while formative assessment tracks progress. However, not all formative assessment serves diagnostic purposes. While both can guide instruction, diagnostic assessment is more detailed and focused on understanding students' specific learning needs rather than just monitoring progress. Here are the characteristics of diagnostic assessment. Diagnostic assessment is designed to identify students' strengths and weaknesses in different language areas, allowing educators to tailor instructions accordingly. It supports differentiated instruction by recognizing individual learning needs and helping students improve their performance through target interventions. Understanding language development pathways is essential for making accurate assessment. Diagnostic versus clinical psychoeducational diagnosis. A key distinction between diagnosis assessment and clinical diagnosis is that language proficiency lacks fixed classification methods. While clinical diagnosis determines underlying causes of difficulties, classroom-based diagnostic assessment provides actionable feedback for instructional improvement without focusing on medical or psychological causes. Mastery Criterion Reference Approach. This approach classifies students into masters and non-masters without assigning numerical scores. Unlike norm reference tests, which compare students' performance to their peers, Criterion Reference Diagnostic Assessment focus on whether students meet predefined learning objectives. So now let's proceed to the source of diagnostic interference. There are three main types of diagnostic interferences help educators understand students' learning. First, vertical discrepancy. It identifies the gaps between current and expected proficiency levels. Second, horizontal discrepancy. It highlights imbalances in different language skills, such as strong reading ability but weak speaking skills. And lastly, self-assessment discrepancy. It examines differences between students' perceptions of their abilities and their actual performances. The standard setting and performance descriptors. Experts establish mastery level and learning expectations through standard setting procedures. The CEFR, for example, categorizes learners into 6 levels, A1 to C2, providing a structured framework for assessing proficiency. These performance descriptors offer valuable diagnostic insights by detailing what learners at each level can do. Let's proceed to the theoretical foundations and challenges of diagnostic assessment in language learning. So, there is no universally accepted framework for diagnostic assessment in language learning. One challenge is that reading and other language skills do not always develop in a strict hierarchy. Additionally, more research is needed to refine the understanding of language subskills and how they progress over time. Self-assessment and diagnostic feedback. Student self-perception plays a crucial role in language learning. The Dialang system, Dialang means diagnostic interference for assessing language guide, for example, integrates self-assessment with test results to provide individualized feedback. This approach helps students develop self-awareness and take ownership of their learning process. Now let's proceed to the washback effects of diagnostic assessment. Washback refers to the influence of assessment on teaching and learning. While negative washback is common in high-stakes testing, there is limited research on how diagnostic assessment impacts instructional practices. A reconceptualization of washback is needed to understand its effects in diagnostic settings. The concept of washback in diagnostic assessment. Proficiency test developers see tests influence as a side effects. Spolsky, 1992. Washback occurs when test preparation shifts focus to unintended skills. So this means that washback is often viewed as an unintended consequence of assessment. So example, a student memorizes essay instead of learning writing skills. So in these examples, this means that if diagnostic assessment focuses in too much on multiple choice questions, students might prioritize test-taking strategies than genuine language learning. Task difficulty and diagnostic utility. For diagnostic assessments to be effective, tasks should be of moderate difficulty. If tasks are too easy, they do not reveal much about learning. If too difficult, they may overwhelm students rather than assess their true skills. Moderately challenging tasks encourage problem solving and deeper cognitive engagement. Cognitive diagnostic modeling. Traditional assessments use scaled scores and percentiles, but cognitive diagnostic models link students' responses to specific cognitive skills. This method provides detailed skills profiles, allowing educators to identify precise areas for improvement. Studies in subjects like Algebra 2 have demonstrated the effectiveness of diagnostic standard setting. Classroom-based diagnostic assessment. A review of standardized diagnostic assessments, especially in L1 reading, shows that they often do not fully serve their diagnostic purpose. Despite significant financial and human investment, there is little validity evidence supporting their effectiveness. Moreover, teachers often struggle to apply assessment results meaningfully in their teaching. Try to look at this table. This table illustrates different levels of score reporting. A total score provides a broad performance overview, while grouping performance by difficulty level offers more insight. A fine-grained skill mastery profile is the most detailed, revealing the specific skills a student needs to improve. This detailed breakdown is useful for target instruction. So we can see in the table that before instruction, GK was struggled across all skill levels, indicating a need for vocabulary and grammar development. And after instruction, his performance improved significantly, especially in medium difficulty items. However, he still needs to support in implicit comprehension and representing information in different formats. While diagnostic assessment provides positive impact, there is also negative effects. While diagnostic assessment aim to pinpoint weaknesses, they can sometimes be too specific, leading to the rigid teaching methods. Additionally, if assessment results only highlight deficits, students may feel discouraged, affecting motivation and confidence. Now let's proceed to the issue of specificity in diagnostic assessment. Determining the appropriate level of specificity is a challenge in diagnostic assessment. Ms. Levy in 1995 argued that overly narrow skill specifications can oversimplify cognitive processes, while broad criteria may lack instructional value. Assessments should align with instructional goals to maximize their effectiveness. What makes a task more or less diagnostic? The effective diagnostic task must reflect a real-world language learning. A multiple-choice test alone might not provide deep insights into a student's writing ability. Instead, assessment should include tasks requiring problem-solving and active language use. The application of diagnostic standard in education. It explained that diagnostic assessment required expert input to set meaningful performance standards. The Henson and Templin study showed that well-designed diagnostic assessment can provide results that align with teachers' observations. Here are the purposes of diagnostic assessments. It identifies students' strengths and weaknesses, inform instruction and intervention, and track learning progress over time. Teachers' use of diagnostic assessment. Teachers frequently rely on informal assessments methods such as questioning, observation, and quizzes. However, many receive limited training in assessment design and interpretation. Without strong assessment competencies, teachers may struggle to make meaningful instructional decisions based on diagnostic data. Interviews with teachers show that while assessments provide data, they often fail to offer detailed insights needed for personalized instruction. Teachers report difficulties in interpreting results and implementing individualized support, especially for students with diverse linguistic background. Now, let's proceed to the improving teacher competency. Many teachers express a lack of confidence in their ability to conduct diagnostic assessments effectively. To address this, teacher education programs should integrate assessment training into their core curriculum, ensuring that future educators can accurately assess and respond to students' learning needs. Students as a change agents. Students play an active role in their learning process when they compare external feedback with their self-assessments. Their individual beliefs about their abilities influence how they focus on learning areas, either reinforcing strengths or addressing weaknesses. Additionally, non-cognitive factors such as motivation and confidence significantly impact their engagement with diagnostic feedback. A positive self-perception and willingness to improve can enhance learning outcomes, making self-assessment a crucial component of diagnostic assessment. Future directions of diagnostic assessment in language classrooms. Increase teacher and students' involvement. Develop theoretical models for language diagnosis, and improve test design for better diagnostic precision. The future of diagnostic assessment in language classrooms depends on continued research and technological advancements. More studies are needed to refine diagnostic frameworks, understand the washback effects of assessment, and improve teacher competency. By integrating these insights, diagnostic assessment can become a more effective tool for personalized learning and instructional improvement. In conclusion, classroom-based diagnostic assessment is essential for identifying students' learning needs, but its effectiveness depends on how well teachers interpret and apply the results. Many educators lack formal training in diagnostic assessment, highlighting the need for better teacher preparation programs. Students' engagement with diagnostic feedback also plays a crucial role, emphasizing the importance of fostering a growth-oriented assessment culture. Future improvements should focus on enhancing teacher competencies, refining assessment models, and designing more precise diagnostic tools for better learning outcomes. That's all for our lessons today. I hope you learned something from my discussions, and thank you for listening.